Obviously, we're happy with the result. One of the things that we talked about in practice this week, and certainly we reemphasized today, is that when you when you trust the process and when you fall in love with the process, that the results will come. And I think that was really, really important, and this team really bought into the idea of one possession at a time and believing in each other, because we played a really ugly second quarter. We gave up 21 points. We walk into the halftime, we've only scored 20 points in a basketball game. We're not flowing. We're giving up buckets on the other end. And again, a group of lesser character individuals could easily have started pointing fingers, doubting themselves, and just gone out and kind of cashed it in. And everything that I heard in the locker room and coming out of the locker room and in every single timeout was, hey, one possession at a time. Hey, let's go. Let's make sure we get this switch. Let's make sure we get this rebound. Let's make sure, hey, let's look at this bucket. And when we do that, the results came, right? We found Milan for a couple threes that kind of got things going a little bit. Marty gave us a huge spark, and made some really, really key baskets. And again, then once we started getting that flow, I thought the rest of it took care of it. And when we went into overtime, we had this young team hadn't been in overtime yet, and they're asking me questions about how it works and which direction we go and how the timeouts work. And anyway, but they were like, great, okay, let's go play this possession. And we did, and we came out, and I think we scored the first 9 points of overtime, and just kept that momentum going. And I'm, again, really, really proud of my team.
Marty, we'll start with you. Tell me the sort of mindset going into the overtime period. You stave off that long possession on the other end. You guys end up jumping out to the first 9 points. What was the mindset of the group going into overtime?
I would say not just in the overtime, but throughout the whole game, we just knew that we weren't going to lose. And we talked about it during shoot-around, and we just knew that we were tired of losing. And the way we're going to win was together. We talked about sharing the ball, being more focused on defense, and I think we did. It was honestly really fun. I think we were ready to fight finally. We know that we're not the biggest out there, we're not the most athletic, we're not the most talented, but we know we can play together. And I think that we've grown into this mentality. We didn't really have it at the beginning, but I would say the more we're playing, the more we're getting close to each other and trusting each other on the court, not just outside. I mean, I'm friends with everybody, but on the court.
Coach, it felt like with Mimi, it was a three right at the top of the key against Seton Hall that kind of got her going late there. Obviously, after it was out of reach, same shot kind of got her going. What was the key to her just finding her stroke again in the fourth quarter and coming alive?
So to be honest, it has everything to do with us finding each other. When we move the ball, Marty said, we may not be the most talented team that can just run ISOs and go one-on-one. So sometimes as a coach, it's difficult to be able to say, this is the exact shot that we're going to get. Right, but when they start looking and we put themselves in good situations, and Marty again had a couple brilliant finds in transition where it wasn't a play, right? You can't give me any credit for X's and O's right there. Marty brought the ball down, knew where Mimi was on the perimeter, drew the defense in, jump stop, kicked it back out wide open three, right? So again, I'm going to repeat a word that she said in there, and I don't know if you caught it, but she talked about how much fun this was. Right, and that when our team starts really enjoying competing, and that fun doesn't mean just goofing around and whatever. Fun means, hey, staying locked in and finding success from those connections. And I will tell you, for a coach, that's when it gets really fun too.
Kind of a totally different team than you saw in Seton Hall, who has a lot of turnovers and they like to run a little bit. How is the week of practice different going into a game like this with a little bit of a slower pace compared to a week of practice going into a game like Seton Hall?
Well, this is finals week, so I don't know if Marty would say that this was slow practices. One of the things we have to do is keep our conditioning going. So we certainly got up and down the court. We've actually been really pushing our transition game offensively and really trying to play at a higher pace and keep our tempo solid, but also be able to get baskets in transition. I thought we were really weak in the first half. There were so many opportunities that we didn't take advantage of. And when we finally got going, it actually, believe it or not, mirrored what I saw of the men's game earlier this afternoon, where our men finally got out in the open court. And it comes from playing defense. They got stops, they got outgoing, and they got baskets in transition. We did the same thing. When we finally got rebounds and we got our transition game going, that's where you saw Mimi get those threes and playing out in the open court rather than having to grind out every single possession. And again, they look like they're having fun playing basketball together. And when we're doing that, like I said, the results will follow.
Coach, you guys finished with 17 turnovers, but only 3 from starting in the last 5 minutes of the fourth going through the end of the overtime. How did you guys adjust from kind of having trouble with the UNH defense and making some sloppy mistakes? What changed for you guys in order to kind of stem the tide there?
Marty?
I mean, like, when it comes down to winning, like, you make sure that you don't turn the ball over.
So, and really, I can't claim that we made any intelligent adjustments other than, you know what, how about we take care of the ball gang, right? I mean, some of the turnovers that we make, not to discredit UNH, they did a good job, right? But when you dribble and there's 3 people that come, it's time to jump stop and kick the ball to the open player, right? And when we made plays like that, we got baskets. When we tried to jam it into 3 people, that's where turnovers happen, right? And so these are basketball plays that our players are learning to make, learning to read defenses, learning to read helps, learning to read rotations, and you know we finally did it. We finally did it, and the results happened.
So like something of an experience kind of thing that, you know.
Yeah, we say it all the time. Those are basketball plays. Right? I mean, you and I could go play pickup game. If those two defenders come on you and you take a bad shot on 2 people, or you try to spin into traffic and you turn it over. Again, I don't know what to tell you. Pass me the ball. I'm open, right? And you need to be able to make that read. Now, what I would say is our players, they really listen. They figure out, okay, that was the mistake I made. And rather than putting my head down and, I don't know what to do, yeah, I drove into 3 people right there, didn't I? All right, how about I jump stop 2 steps earlier, reverse pivot, hit the open player, we make 1 more pass and we get a 3. And it's as simple as that. Right? And again, I wish I could say it was easy, right? But that's just what good basketball looks like. And I'm proud to say we played some good basketball in that second half. And in the overtime, we certainly did.
Last one for me. You guys ended up holding UNH to 30% shooting from the field. What do you think the key was, kind of game plan wise, or adjustments to the game in order to keep them down, especially after giving up 21 points in the second quarter?
So their inside game is excellent, and again, you know, I think their leading scorer, number 32, had a really rough night, and you know, one of our game plan pieces, a big part of our game plan piece, was to have a lot of bodies around their post game, and then be able to, you know, to rotate in and out. And I thought we did a good job off of our ball screens, coverages, and off of our, you know, their inside game, their post touches. And again, when you make a team have to take difficult shots over hands, they miss. Now, they made some tough shots. I would say number 35, Fogarty, stepped out and hit a couple with her heels on the 3-point line, leaning back. You know, those are ones where, I mean, Marty knows, we got to clap our hands and just say, you know what, great shot. But again, we usually stick to the process, make them take difficult shots, and you know.
Yeah, and I would say our communication was a little bit better. We hedged sometimes, we went under sometimes, and the post players were doing a good job in talking. So that definitely helped the girls too.